What is up, everybody? It is episode 12, season 1, which means this is the finale for season 1. Kyle,
this is it.
You've had a lot of crazy things going on with you. You've been a little unwell.
Man, to put it in a very exaggerated tone, I have been Job-like lately. I've had some Job-like, very minor, but some Job-like experiences. Yes, it's not been fun. It has not been fun.
Well, you look great, buddy, and I'm glad you're here tonight. We had I was traveling. You weren't feeling well, so we missed our normal release time. We got a lot of emails, a lot of messages on us not putting it out.
I know.
And so we want to just make sure that let everybody know that we're okay and we're putting it out.
Inbox just bursting forth of, hey, what happened? What happened to the last episode? We've been waiting on pins and needles just on the edge of our seats.
Hey, man, we got a lot of cool stuff to cover tonight. So
we do, but we do need to do one call out. In our last episode, we said that we would call out anyone who dropped a
review for us.
For us, yes. And we had one individual who wrote a review, and I should have had this queued up and ready. Do you remember his name right off the top of your head?
I think his first name's Reed.
Reed, yes. We want to shout out Reed. Thank you so much for your incredible review of the Dead Rock Stars. So glad you enjoyed it.
And he's got a special prize coming his way.
Yeah, he does. So like Reed, if you want to in season 2 get a shout out, go ahead and write us a review of the Dead Rock Stars. Let us know how awesome it is. You can tell us the truth, but you got to lie to the world. You got to on the Amazon 5 stars.
Yep,
best book you've ever read.
So the reason why we wanted to do 12 episodes to kind of see how it went, little proof of concept. And I've had a great time. Kyle, I feel like you've had a great time. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Oh, absolute blast. It's been awesome.
And so I don't think we're going to take a long break, but I think we're going to take a little break. I think we're going to regroup, figure out what worked, what didn't, come up with some new things, and be ready to go season 2 in several weeks. And so we got 12 great episodes. We have 11 great episodes, and we got one we're recording now. We'll see. And
if our track record says anything, it's going to be a bang. It's going to be a banger. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. I've already messed up the intro music, so it's not going great. I mean, we're off to a bad start.
We can just cut that part out. It's all right. We'll edit. We'll fix it in post. We'll fix it in post.
Yeah, man, it's been great, and I'm excited about tonight. There's been some kind of cool things that have kind of happened for the first time in a really long time. We got a Marvel movie to discuss.
Yeah, we do.
Because of your unwellness, you got to watch a lot of junk, and
I've been watching a lot of TV, and I'm really movies and TV. Yeah, so I'm excited to talk about some of these things tonight. It's gonna be great.
We've got stuff we got to talk about. I think I'm up first. I watched a movie recently this weekend that just came out.
Yeah,
it's sticking to trend with my preferences. It came out on Apple Plus.
Apple TV Plus. This
Apple TV
podcast
Plus
is brought to you by Apple TV Plus. Jay Watson keeping them in business single-handedly.
Me and Ted Lasso, anyway, for sure. I think.
Yes.
Me and Ted Lasso, for sure. It was a movie called The Gorge, and it had Miles Teller and Anya. How do you say what's her name?
Anya Taylor Johnson, is that, or Anya Taylor Joy? I can't remember which.
Yeah, I started to get nervous. You said Johnson, and I started to get nervous because
ATJ, I think.
Yeah,
it's ATJ something.
Yeah, I think maybe Joy.
Joy, I think it's Joy. Yeah,
Anya Taylor Joy. It's got Miles Teller and Anya Taylor Joy in it. It's called The Gorge. It was a film that was directed by Scott Derrickson.
Okay, now he helmed one of the.
Doctor Strange 2.
Doctor Strange. Okay, I was gonna say I thought he did. Well, Doctor Strange 2 was Sam Raimi, was it not?
No, you're right. He did. He did the first one.
I think he did the original one. Yeah.
And then someone was doing the second one, and Sam Raimi kind of came in to save the day. I don't know if it was Scott or whom it was, but I don't even know if I used the word whom correctly just then, but
it's close enough.
Yeah. He's involved in the Strange universe.
Yeah.
And he made this film. And so Kyle, we talked a little bit about maybe trying something different, like right out the chute, kind of giving a 30-second review.
Yeah. Do you want to summarize the movie first? So give our viewers a little bit of a heads up of what it's about, and then maybe roll into the review.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah,
The
give
Gorge
us
is
just a little thumbnail of what the movie's about.
The Gorge is a feature film. It's a movie. It's 2 hours plus. It stars the Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy. It's directed by Scott Derrickson.
Yes.
And it is a movie that is equal parts love story and sci-fi trip plus government agency stuff.
Okay.
These two people find themselves by different circumstances on different sides of a physical gorge. One represents America and Britain. The other represents the communist country. So you have this Russian and Anya Taylor-Joy, and you've got this American and Miles Teller. They are both gifted military people, and they have been assigned to the gorge for 1 year. That's what we know. And the only thing they're really told is whatever comes out of the gorge, you make sure it doesn't. And so they're, that's all they know.
Yeah.
And the movie kind of unfolds as these creatures come out of the ground, and they have to fight them. And there's a backstory as to why they're there. There's a significance. There's kind of a timeline of when this has been happening and how it occurred. And I won't go into too far into the details of that, but Anya Taylor-Joy and Miles Teller kind of come together, and it's an interesting way that they connect, and they kind of deal with this issue together.
Okay.
And so that's as much spoiler-free stuff as I can give.
Yeah. So paint a picture for me. Are they in like a sniper tower? Are they in like a bunker? Like, what's the context for them like overseeing watching this gorge? I'm trying to paint the picture in my brain.
Who was the guy that lived in the bunker in Lost?
Desmond. Yeah.
I want you to imagine if Desmond were on a tower.
Oh, okay.
And there were 2 towers on the sides of the gorge, and they had automatic machine guns on those towers.
Okay.
And, they had everything that they could need to live for a year or more. Everything was kind of self-sustaining, and they did not have contact with the outside world other than a radio every so often to say that they were still doing their thing like once a month.
Wow.
So it's complete isolation other than some binoculars where they can see across the gorge.
Okay. And so just 24/7 watching the gorge.
24/7.
If something comes out, shoot it.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So that's the premise. Jay, how about the review? Let's have a 30-second review. I'm gonna my timer here.
Put a timer up. Let me see. I'll try to hit it at the same time. I'm gonna set a timer over here as well. And you tell me when go is. Hold on, let me get ready. You tell me when go is, and then we can watch it together, and I'll try to hit 30 seconds.
Okay. Ready, set, go.
The Gorge on Apple TV Plus is a kind of a love story and a sci-fi trip and a military conspiracy cover-up all in one. Anya Taylor-Joy, fantastic. Miles Teller, fantastic. Scott Derrickson, The movie is really sweet. It's cool. It's got a lot of stuff great going on for it. But in essence, their performances are amazing. The film stinks. It is a loser. I give it 1 Thunderbolt.
Burn. Oh, wow. Okay. So it helps when you're setting a 30-second timer if you don't set a 30-minute timer. That really does help a lot.
Well, I feel like I just nailed it, by the way.
You did. Dead on. Yeah, it was really good. Well done. So the movie stinks. You're not a fan.
I would say that the first act is pretty good and the second act is pretty good.
Yeah.
Scott Derrickson is a weirdo.
Yeah.
We're about to get into spoilers, okay?
Okay. So let's spoiler warning.
Warning.
Boom.
Warning.
Spoiler warning.
Boom.
Boom.
So the things that come out of the ground are, imagine Walking Dead or not Left Behind, but The Last of Us.
Okay.
The Last of Us, how it's got like stuff grow, like plants and stuff growing out of it.
Yeah, I never seen that one.
This is just like a fever dream of a horror film fantasy world. I mean, these things that are coming out have horns and they have trees coming out and they have but at the same time they're wearing army uniforms and they're riding, tree horses, and you're just like, what is this?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden spiders show up, but the spiders that show up are giant spiders with skulls on them. Like the main part of the spider is a skull, and then it's got all these legs, and you're just like, what is happening?
Yeah. It sounds like a studio executive was like, why don't we put spiders in it? Spiders are creepy.
No, I think if a studio exec got a hold of this would have been way more mainstream.
Yeah. Okay.
Like it went a little gonzo, and then they kind of uncovered what it is, and it's like a World War II kind of experiment gone wrong, and no one knows where this gorge is. They keep it hidden, and so the world doesn't know about it, and nothing can get out of it. And so I really enjoyed Miles Teller. I really enjoyed Anya Taylor-Joy. I thought they were great. It was kind of fun to watch them flirt, to do the things back and forth. There was some sweetness and all those things there in Act 1 and Act 2. But as we ended it, I just was like, okay.
Yeah. A lot of movies don't make it to the third act, like they had enough idea to get something started and then they didn't have enough to get to the finish line. Is it that you think it suffers from that?
I think so. I also think there's a reason why it's not in the movie theaters. I feel like they're real picky these days about what's actually making it to the theaters, and it just wasn't good.
Yeah. CGI? Yeah. Good, bad? Yeah.
It was weird looking. So, like
Gladiator 2 level bad?
No. Not that bad. But okay. It's almost like a fantasy world. So,
yeah,
you're able to do tricks with CGI, like everything's kind of brown or everything's kind of whatever. Or you're in a fog. And so when you're in a fog, you don't have to see the stuff. I haven't looked up Rotten Tomatoes to see what they gave it. I'm really curious now because I gave it I said a thunderbolt in my 30-second, but I gave it one lightning bolt.
Yeah.
Would not watch again. Was not impressed.
Yeah.
And I was really looking forward to that film.
Yeah.
Okay. The tomato meter, 65%. The popcorn meter, 77%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me just say this. I think historically, in the almost 30 years of friendship that we've had, I have sort of felt like you kind of come on the front end lots of times loving stuff. Like you're like, I love it, man. And then over time, you kind of maybe regress back to a mean, more of an average. But you're hot out the chute. So for you not to like it from this get-go, and it's somewhat well-liked, it seems, by critics and by audience, that surprises me quite a bit. You're usually pretty forgiving. Usually, even Craven, like last episode, Craven, you were like, it was kind of cool. I mean, it wasn't a great story or anything, but if you like to watch cool stuff, it might be for you, This feels pretty much like a obliteration. One lightning bolt. That's strong.
Yeah. The only reason it gets one is because of Miles and Anya.
Yeah. Well acted, well performed. Yeah. Okay. Wow.
And this is a little bit foretelling of things to come, Kyle. I'm just letting you know now.
Okay. Well, it's interesting. You love sci-fi. You love, fantasy. It really does kind of fascinate me. My guess was, I figured if you didn't like it, you would have given it like 2.5. Kind of. You're kind of a little more forgiving. But a 1.
It could be that the market is flooded when it comes to weird zombies.
Yeah. I could see that.
If you're going to do something new or different. And the thing that they did with this was just suspense until it wasn't suspenseful. And it was just a bunch of weirdos.
Interesting.
And like even the way they kind of resolved getting out of the gorge, didn't like it.
So if they're in opposite towers, how did they by radio communicate with one another, or did they ever in person meet one another?
Do you want to know? Do you want to talk about this?
You gave it one lightning bolt, bro. If you hated it, there's no way I'm going to like it.
They've got, when you go to like a state park and you get up to the top and there's this beautiful view and you look over and there's this, I don't know what you want to call it.
Those big giant binoculars.
Yeah, the big giant binoculars that are locked down so nobody will steal them.
Right.
That's what they've got, except they're like they can zoom in and out, and stuff like that.
Okay.
And so they zooming in, kind of watching each other, and then there's notes being held up, and they can read it, and the next thing you know, Miles is making a zip line to try to get across to get to the girl. So.
Hey, the things we'll do, right?
Yeah, it's interesting to think about that. This guy's a military sniper. He's got 118 confirmed kills. Like hides in the grass for 10 days in order to get his kill. Right. One pretty girl,
Yeah.
And he's like, "How can I make a like the world's biggest zip line.
Bats those big pretty eyes at him, and he's like, I got to get over there right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
That's hilarious. Okay.
So I'm not saying if you haven't been looked for it, don't watch it. I'm just saying lower your expectations.
Okay.
This is not great sci-fi. It's not great fantasy. It's not even really that great of a meet cute. You know, it's not even like a Hallmark level meet cute. You know, it's two dangerous assassins. You know, it's not even Mr. and Mrs. Smith here. It's just, you know, they shoot bottles off of each other's ledges, and that's the way they flirt. So you're like, okay, whatever.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Man. All right. Well, one that I will definitely skip, and it's not hard for me because I don't have a subscription to Apple TV Plus.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty interested because this next thing that you're going to be reviewing, I haven't seen yet. I want to hear what you think about it. It's gotten very mixed reviews.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I would love to hear kind of what it is you think about it.
So if you're looking at a sci-fi kind of love story, kind of, you know, military, whatever, if you want to go to the complete opposite end of the spectrum, but yet still on the love story spectrum to some extent, you have the movie that I watched, You Are Cordially Invited. It's the new Will Ferrell, Reese Witherspoon film.
Yeah. Give us a quick synopsis, quick summary.
Yeah. So the 30-second thumbnail is Will Ferrell is a widower. And he has raised a only daughter, and she, at the very start of the film, comes to him and says, I'm getting married, and I want to get married at the same place you and mom got married. And so it's this very secluded island somewhere in the South, maybe off the coast of Georgia or South Carolina. And so he goes to make a reservation. And as this quick spoiler, you know, as he's making the reservation, the woman taking his reservation dies. And so doesn't actually get the thing written, and it's kind of slapstick, you know, and he thinks we're all good. We've made the reservation. Simultaneously, Reese Witherspoon has a sister who's getting married, and same idea. We love this island. I want to get married on the island. And they pick the exact same date. And what's his name from 30 Rock? The blonde guy who's the Southerner. I can't remember his name from that. So he's filled in. Yeah, he's the Page from NBC. Yes, he's filled in, and now he actually writes the name. So it turns out they've double booked the same wedding venue, and they both have to kind of show up and figure out how they're going to make this work. And hijinks ensue. That's the that's the 30-second premise. Probably stretched more to 60 seconds.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't think we made the 30-second cut, but Jack McBrayer is
McBrayer. Yeah. What was his name in 30 Rock?
Kenneth Parcell or something like that.
Yes, Kenneth. Love that guy. He was so funny.
Yeah, he was good.
So yeah. All right. So you want me to try to do a 30-second review? I've not practiced this or anything.
Yeah, I didn't practice mine either. I don't know. I think I could have done better. But I think it's kind of fun for us to just see what happens. And so
let's see what happens. Okay.
Yeah, do you have your timer set over there?
Let me set a timer. Are you going to give me?
It helps to look at the clock.
Yeah, it does. Okay, I'm not going to do 30 minutes this time. I will do 30 seconds.
30 seconds, and if you could land on lightning bolts or thunderbolts, whatever you want to pick.
We'll land on the lightning bolts.
Okay, right. You ready?
Yep. Tell me when.
All right, on your mark, get set, go.
You're Cordially Invited is a really funny film. It's got a lot of really funny moments. However, it can't decide if it wants to be a realistic funny or an absolutely bonkers off-the-wall slapstick funny. So it lives in this middle ground of this is incredibly stupid and ridiculous, and this is kind of laugh out loud, really funny. The chemistry between Reese and Will is okay, but Will Ferrell, as always, is really pretty hilarious. But I'd give it 3 lightning bolts.
Okay. I mean, I feel like that was beautiful, Kyle.
Oh, thank you, man. Maybe we have a future in this podcast.
I'm gonna zhuzh that up in post, and it's gonna be like a 24-second clip, and it's gonna be like you're gonna be like what? You're cordially invited. It's got Reese Witherspoon. Well, you know how they always do all those.
Speed it up a little bit.
Yeah. a little razzmatazz.
Yeah.
So you liked it.
I laughed quite a bit. Now, of course, I'm a sucker for Will Ferrell.
Sure.
Reese Witherspoon is beautiful as ever. I mean, she's our age, maybe a little older. She might be 50 at this point, and she looks the same as she's looked since she was 30. I mean, so really impressive.
Yeah.
There's
was that like Skywalker Ranch? Was that part of the CGI or something? Or do you think it was?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe just a lot of really good Botox, but
yeah,
so
whatever the case.
she's, she kind of has that niche of reformed Southerner, like you can tell, like she still says y'all and stuff, but she's the Southern's been beaten out of her. Her character in this film is she's kind of estranged from her family. She's a television producer, lives in Los Angeles, and her family's all still deeply rooted in the South. She really only has a good relationship with this one sister, the sister who's getting married. And so she's like, I'll plan your wedding. I'll do it. And that's kind of the, their side of the story.
Her chance to get back in.
Well, she doesn't really want to. She doesn't care for her family. She sees the hypocrisy. She sees the, kind of the old South kind of is icky, to her.
Do sparks fly between Will Ferrell and Reese Witherspoon?
There is a you can tell right from the start that there is a bit of they look at one another and think, but
little chemistry.
Their chemistry as actors is a little bit when they're hedging toward the romance, but when they're in their full bore, she turns into. She's not the bride, but whatever the bridezilla. She's the sisterzilla,
Yeah,
and he is the
mom bridezilla.
Bridezilla. Yeah. And he is the I have to protect my daughter at all costs, and she's this like clueless Gen Z, there's a great moment when her wedding planner has anxiety calling people, so she just emailed, and so she never picked up the phone to call the venue to say, are we really confirmed? So that's how they showed up, and there was no nobody knew that they didn't they weren't really didn't really have the place reserved anyway. So it's really, there's some really funny moments. I laughed really hard. Some great kind of bit parts by some comedians. I really enjoy Leanne Morgan. She's a comedian. She plays an older sister of Reese Witherspoon, and I mean she's just herself, but she's hilarious. And her special on Netflix, by the way, is real nice. It's hilarious. It's so good. Kind of in that Nate Bargatze. By and large, it's really clean. You can watch it. Yeah, kind of watch it around the kids. She talks a little bit about sex and stuff, but still from a married perspective, it's really funny if you ask me. But so
you got Fortune Feimster in there.
Fortune Feimster. She's very, very small role for her.
Bobby Moynihan.
Very, very small role for Bobby, but he is in
Wyatt
it.
Russell
And Captain America. Yes, Wyatt Russell is in there.
Captain America and Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning, very small role. Yeah.
Wow.
So
okay.
It's uneven. So like I said in my 30-second review, it doesn't know if it wants to be like Wedding Crashers or Bridesmaids, where it's kind of like, this is a little over the top, but it's not like completely ridiculous. It doesn't know if it wants to be that or if it wants to be like just something totally over the top. For example, this is in the trailer, so I'm not ruining anything, but at one point Will Ferrell wrestles an alligator, so it's like, you remember like Semi-Pro? Remember that Will Ferrell movie where he like has to fight a bear at some point, or just stupid stuff like that. So it kind of straddles that fence, and one point it's this type, and one point it's that type, and it kind of just has this silly, can't really decide what it is. But I again, I'm kind of a sucker for Will Ferrell, especially when he's in his like
get off the shed mode.
He wasn't get off the shed. He was more like simmering rage underneath, and he's this dopey guy who kind of like a Frank the Tank 20 years later after he had a daughter, and he's settled down a little bit. He can go into that fly off the handle wild crazy mode, but he's trying to keep it down here,
trying to keep it toned down.
Toned down. So
any kind of final words for us? Like if watch it if you like these kind of movies, and watch it. Like what would be in a
It is a hard R for language, for the so it's not one you want to watch around the kids probably, okay. But if it's just you and the spouse or whatever, and it's okay, no earmuffs needed, because Reese likes the F word. Let's just say that.
If you just say earmuffs, though,
you just say whatever you want. Yeah, just whatever you want. Man, I've been resisting saying Will Ferrell's line all season.
Oh yeah. No.
And that famous line there.
Well,
that
good. And stay
school.
away from it
if you just want to suspend disbelief and just laugh and just get into it, and if you're okay with just some silliness, and honestly, I think it probably hits better for us who live in the South here because we know people like Reese's family. We've grown up with people like that. It's possible that some of our own family is somewhat like that.
I kind of want to watch it now. I love this.
There's definitely some like some old South, old money kind of feel that happens in there. But we enjoyed it. I watched it with my wife, and we both cackled several times. But it wasn't like, oh man, this is when I come back. It's a classic. Gonna come back to over and over again.
It's not a 4. It's not a 4 lightning bolt. It's a 3.
3. Here's the thing.
You didn't regret seeing it, but you don't care if you ever see it again.
Exactly.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I firmly believe this, and I'm not just trying to be prudish or whatever. But if it was PG-13, and if they decided to go more toward the bridesmaids, Wedding Crashers kind of, like in terms of like
we're both rated R, I'm pretty sure.
But I mean, the realistic nature of okay, so let's say like the diarrhea scene in Bridesmaids was over the top, but that was like, that could happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the way they reacted to it,
does
the food
happen,
poisoning.
Kyle. It happens.
It happens a lot.
Happens.
Yeah, more so than anyone wants to admit, but it happens. The food poisoning scene there was silly, and it was played for total laughs, but that's grounded in reality. A man wrestling an alligator is not in any sense,
But
and there's several scenes like that along the way.
Okay. Well, I probably will watch it if you gave it 3. Just, if I ever get to a night where it's like, okay, what I want to watch something that's silly and ridiculous.
Make you laugh. And when they start sabotaging each other, it gets funny. It gets funny.
Does it have a solid third act? Does it end well, or does it kind of fall off a cliff?
I mean, it's the third act is probably the weakest. Okay. I think the middle act is the best.
Destination weddings seem to be a movie hot topic. Jennifer Lopez and Las Vegas guy.
Is that Josh Duhamel?
Yeah, Josh Duhamel. They did a kind of a bandits took over their destination wedding. There's been, George Clooney and Julia Roberts had one a while back, a couple years ago, destination kind of wedding. Yeah. It's interesting to think about that's a hot thing to do. And putting it in the South like that is a nice little twist. I don't know about alligator wrestling, but everything else sounds like a lot of fun.
But this would be like if the destination for the wedding were like just a little bit better venue than Chaco Springs. Okay. So like it's a little more,
that's a deep cut, Kyle.
A little more rustic.
Talking about a Baptist retreat center in Talladega, Alabama.
Talladega, not Talladega, Talladega.
Talladega.
Yes. Yes. That I knew you would know that. Many of our listeners probably do not. Look it up. Chaco Springs. A lot of fun. Not far from the motor speedway there in Talladega.
It's not. I've been to that emergency room several times in my life.
Heck yeah, man.
Davis Orr in particular. Davis Orr broke a collarbone. I had to take him.
Oh,
poor Davis. He's a very successful human right now, I'm sure. Congratulations on your family, Davis. You're a wonderful young man. Hope the collarbone's still working.
Hope it works. Still good. Hope it works. Yeah. So if you want to laugh, if you want to just have a good time, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's not legendary. It's not a classic, but it's funny.
Well, this kind of brings us, I think, to the this is probably the quickest and most relevant kind of thing we've done as far as speed. Both of these movies are new, but then this third one is brand new. Came out this weekend.
Yeah, brand spanking new.
It's in our wheelhouse. We haven't had one in a while. What was the last one? The Eternal? No, the Marvels?
No, it was Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, I still forget that that's part of the MCU. Like almost, separate world.
Yeah.
We got Captain America: Brave New World. We've both seen it, and it's time to discuss.
Yeah.
I saw it just a few hours ago, so it's really fresh for me.
Yeah, I saw it Sunday afternoon, so it's still pretty fresh for me as well.
Okay. How do you want to do you want me to summarize it and then you give a 30-second review? Do we both want to try to do a 30-second review and then talk from there?
I think we both need to review it. I'm happy for you to summarize it if you like, but I think we both need to give our reviews, because if your hint was any indication, I think we may come down in kind of different places. But I'm curious. So, yeah, why don't you summarize? Why don't you give us a basic thumbnail of what the film's about?
Captain America: Brave New World stars Anthony Mackie as the Captain America who was once Falcon, and he has been upgraded by Wakanda, and he has all the super cool combination of kind of Captain America and Falcon
tech. Yeah,
he is trying to properly wear the crown, and Harrison Ford's character Thunderbolt Ross has just recently become the president, and the story kind of twists and turns between the two of them, and you have this running ethical commentary on moral character, who you are, who you can be, why you want to be the way you are, and then what happens kind of, when you tinker with those things. There's bad guys, and there's intrigue, and there's some callbacks to both the Captain America Winter Soldier Disney Plus, previous Captain Americas, and even callbacks to the original Incredible Hulk with Ed Norton, Liv Tyler,
and the Eternals.
And the Eternals. We have a set location from the Eternals.
Right.
It's probably the best we can make that jump.
Which happened in the Eternals film and was not mentioned again till this movie, Yeah. So I'm sure we'll talk about that more when we get to it. But kind of like the film starts in sort of like action right out of the chute, like Captain America, who was, again, Anthony Mackie, who was Sam Wilson, jumps right into action going against this Serpent Society. We don't really know much about them, and boom! I mean, it's just right out of the chute. There's a shootout, and so it's kind of a fun way to begin. But yeah, so that's pretty good setup. I think that's pretty good setup for the listeners. I'll give my spoiler-free 30-second review if you like.
Yeah, go for it.
You want to set a timer for me?
Yeah. Are you going spoiler-free?
I'll try to keep it spoiler-free.
Are we going lightning bolts?
And I'll give lightning bolts at the end. Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready?
Let me get my timer so I can see myself. Okay, ready. You tell me. You count me down.
On your mark, get set, go.
Captain America: Brave New World, to me, was a refreshing return to seemingly the interconnected storytelling of Marvel, in that it called back to both the second film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, The Hulk, and it called back to The Eternals, a movie that's basically been forgotten and shunned and pushed to the side. And so I was very glad to see this return to the original kind of storytelling, but an uneven story. Ultimately, I would give it 3 1/4 lightning bolts.
Okay. 33 seconds, 32 seconds. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, let me give mine. You ready?
All right, I'll count you down. 3, 2, 1, go.
Captain America: Brave New World is a return to taking all the old Captain America movies and all the old Marvel movies and trying to piece together something that's slightly mediocre. I will say Anthony Mackie is great. Harrison Ford is very, very good. The action pieces are okay. There's a lot of interesting political things that are happening, but all in all, it feels very, very retread, like we've seen all of the things that have happened before. So for me, 2.5 lightning bolts.
Man, we're nailing this 30-second thing. Oh, this is something. We should have been doing this all season. Wow.
Yeah, let's get into some spoilers. We're just going to jump in.
All right, boom.
Before we do that, let's just say this. Should you see the movie? I think so. I think it's worth seeing if you're a Marvel person.
Yeah, I agree.
If you're not a Marvel person, don't go see this movie.
Yeah, because it is well beyond the point of like understanding anything. Because you have to have seen Eternals, you have to have seen Hulk, you have to have seen Falcon Winter Soldier, you have to have seen the Disney Plus show. And all the Captain America movies. I mean, you have to have seen a whole lot of stuff to know anything that's happening in this movie. So yeah, totally agree.
So do you want to talk about the good or the bad first?
Let's talk about the good.
Okay.
I like I said in my 30-second review, I did appreciate that. It seemed as if they're trying to get back toward the interconnectedness of storytelling, because it felt a little bit like since I mean, of course, Deadpool, like you said, Deadpool and Wolverine, the interconnectedness there was to all the 20th Century Fox movies, had nothing to do with the MCU apart from
Yeah.
like a Happy Hogan, kind of cameo.
Yeah.
And just to call back, it felt like in this small sense, like when you watched Avengers Endgame, and it was like, man, one of the linchpin stories to this movie is Thor: Dark World. Like they made Thor: Dark World really important. It felt like that in the sense of like, man, they made Hulk relevant again. Whereas they've sort of kind of like forget that movie ever happened. And the same thing with Eternals.
I think they needed to do that in order for Thunderbolt Ross to have a full 3-dimensional arc. I think they had to do it, but I wish they had done it a little, like, I don't know. I have lots of problems with my boy No Country for Old Men.
Okay.
What's his name?
Are you talking Tim Blake Nelson?
Tim Blake Nelson.
Yeah. I was thinking, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I didn't know he was in No Country for Old Men.
Yeah, that's what I meant, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Man, having a rough night tonight. Gotta get back on the meds or something. I had a lot of problems with Tim Blake Nelson's character. I don't think Tim Blake Nelson was particularly bad in what he did. I just felt like it was gross and not.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I thought it was like, there was so many callbacks. It felt just like Winter Soldier, Captain America: Winter Soldier. Going down into a bunker, going into this jail cell, finding the lab, all these things. It was just, it was just too much of the same. And well, we were supposed to be talking about the good, right?
We're supposed to be talking about the good. Yeah.
So I'll table some of that, and I'll just say this. I thought that in order for Harrison Ford to have the arc, they did what they did to have a complete story. And I thought that Harrison Ford was really, really good.
Yeah.
He was really good in the movie. He's done some really solid acting. There's a lot more nuance to everything he does these days. The comedy work that he's been doing lately, dramatic work. And then this, like, who would have thought, like, there's some real depth and gravitas to being the president. And he, for him being as old as he is, he looked a lot younger than our last couple of presidents for sure.
Even though he's older than both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that Anthony Mackie was wonderful. It was a little bit unearned, but that turn at the end really meant a lot to me. And I think the only reason it landed was because I had seen all the other things, the Captain America: Winter Soldier, the Captain America Disney Plus stories, Captain America, the Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Seeing that, even the callback to Endgame, Bucky showing up the way he did.
Yeah.
The little speech at the end, I thought was really effective, and I understood and appreciated that on a personal level.
Yeah.
And so I did not like the way they tiptoed around racial issues in this film. It was there, but they didn't speak about it. Like, it was like just right on the edges of stuff. And it's like, come on, man, everybody's watching you kind of stuff. And I wish they would have dealt with that a little bit more straight on.
Yeah.
But they didn't want to ruffle feathers. And I got a problem with that. I thought though that Anthony Mackie was amazing. I thought he did a great job. And the fact that he played it as a human, instead of a super soldier, it did a lot for me. It did a lot for me. Like, a lot of what made him great was his resolve, is kind of the way they put that. Of course, it helped that he had all the Wakanda gear, but like,
right.
The resolve was good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the things that I appreciated the most were the things I've already mentioned, just sort of the connectivity to the story. I mean, I'm very ready and able to nitpick it to death. I felt for the first time in a while in a Marvel movie, I'm ready to go the negative. Let's just go there. I think we're both aching to, but I thought for the first time in the while, I could have used a little more. Like, I felt like it got edited up a little too much.
So I want to take one scene, and I want to take this one scene, and I want to tell you this is what bothered me about the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know who the director is. I don't know what they've done before, but there's this one scene where Anthony Mackie is talking to New Falcon. They're in the Cap headquarters, which we've never seen before. And there's a big star that's out on the outside of it. And they're just at this place. But the whole scene is shot in one camera view where Falcon is at the computer, Anthony's walking around, and they're kind of talking to each other, and you never once get any star close-ups of the conversation. Like at no point did I feel like the Falcon was somebody that I was particularly interested in, because he wasn't given great dialogue. He wasn't really set up to be interesting.
Yeah.
He was a little loudmouth kid who we kind of knew was going to get hurt at some point, just because something had to happen.
Right.
There was enough of these, don't you get hurt, that you're like, okay, this guy's about to get hurt. But, I not one close up of this guy's face while he's at the computer working, saying, well, it's in the middle of nowhere. And like, we didn't, like, at no point did they zoom in. And it's just like, what happened? Like, what happened in here? There were probably 3 times in the film where I felt like I was listening to a voiceover that was definitely not happening in that scene, that moment, while people were talking. And like, Marvel usually doesn't do that. And so there was some significant doctoring.
Yeah. Yeah. No question. The, as a wrestling fan, I know that wrestler Seth Rollins was supposed to have a role in the beginning as one of the Serpent Society people. And his role got completely cut out. And that to me was telling, because they go in and have this fight at the beginning against these, Gustavo Fring. I don't remember his name in the movie, in the Captain America movie, but they go in and fight these guys, the Serpent Society. I'm like, who are these people? I don't know who they are. Like Sidewinder.
You're talking about Sidewinder,
whatever they are. They called them snakes or serpents or whatever it was.
He's the leader of the serpents, or serpent or something like that.
As far as I remember, there was no like, hey, this is who these people are. This is the intel. This is what they're after. This is their motivation. It was just, these are bad guys. We got to fight them. Let's go fight them.
Package. Go get the package.
Go get the package. Yeah. And there's a buyer. And who's the buyer? I don't know, like all that stuff. And there were several moments of just incredible, the GI or the special forces guy that Falcon just happened to know, who's like, hey, take a look at these pills, figure out what they are. He's like, oh, I got a guy who can do that. It's
How about this? Okay. Yeah. Tim Blake Nelson, who looks like he's got, like, I don't know, gonorrhea or something on his head.
Gross. Yes. Yes.
I don't know what it is.
Well, do you remember what
happened?
Needs
an antibiotic is what I'm saying.
Yes. Yeah. Do you remember what happened to him at the end of Hulk? Like,
the
Hulk stuff falls on his head. His head starts bubbling, Yeah. And so, he did not look the way I expected him to. I thought he'd have this big, like,
that was ridiculous. They tried to bring it more into reality, but he still looked ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they even hit him until they showed it. And you're like, I can't take you seriously right now.
Yeah.
Well, he walks up to that guy and he's like, I've got you now on one turn. If I turn this up, your heart's going to explode. And he had a physical dial. Like he just turned a dial like it was 1955. Like,
right. I hear you. That was one positive thing I did want to say, though, that I did appreciate that the story was a little bit more grounded in terms of like, we're not dealing with aliens. We're not dealing with, somebody coming to destroy the world. It's this battle over the eternal or celestial island is what they called it, which is,
and particularly adamantium.
Adamantium, exactly. And so there was,
like, if you're a true nerd, Kyle, why is adamantium important?
That's what Wolverine's made of.
It's what is injected into his body, because he has healing properties.
Right.
And so we're pointing towards a connected universe.
Connectivity storytelling, which I'm grateful for, that it's going somewhere. It's not just, hey, let's have Thor say funny stuff for 2 hours. And now he's got a daughter, and and let's do this funny TV show about a She-Hulk. And at the end of it, we find out Hulk's got sons. Ha ha ha! So funny. It's just stupid. I don't care anything about that crap. Cut that out and put it in a reel. But this at least shows like it's going somewhere. Like there is some thought towards future storytelling, and it's not just, hey, we're Marvel, we can make no mistakes, we can do no wrong, everybody's going to come see this movie and love it just because we are who we are. Now it's like, okay, well, we've been kicked a few times and we're needing to come back. And no, the product wasn't great. It didn't, the movie wasn't fantastic. And I completely agree with you that a lot of it feels unearned. Like I feel like Sam Wilson as Captain America has not really done anything to earn the laudance. Is that a word? The praise that he receives, apart from the fact that he was handpicked by Steve Rogers to carry the shield.
Yeah, we haven't experienced him having high character and morality and like being the one that everybody looks up to. We don't really experience that in any of these stories, other than he gives speeches. He
counsels war veterans. Like they had to call back to that several times, in this film to remind you that, oh yeah, when we first met him in Winter Soldier, he was taking care of war veterans who were
giving speeches.
Yeah, he likes to help people. So okay, fantastic, great. But like, what has he done on film, or apart from he's been right there and he's lived through a lot of these major battles. What else about him that makes him so great? That the new Falcon is weepy. I want to be like you one day when I grew up. Like I felt that part was unearned. But I appreciate Aaron. What's it? Mackie? Anthony Mackie. Big reason why he's a New Orleans guy, and you can hear it every now and then in that accent when it comes out. It's like, that sounds like home. I love it.
Let's talk about the Black Widow lady.
Yeah, like she seemed like she was incredibly like small, like almost a little person. It
was a very odd choice for me.
Yeah. What was she a background character or anything in the Black Widow movie when they took down the Red Room? Do you remember that at all?
Yeah, I don't know. We could look into that a little bit.
One of my sons was
season 2, episode 1.
Yeah. Or, if someone knows, let us know, let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
But one of my sons was like, was she in the Black Widow movie? I was like, I don't remember her. She may have been, but I don't remember if she was.
Did you notice she got like a outfit of sorts? Like she had like a purple chest plate on at one point. Yeah. And I'm like, are they just giving those out?
Yeah. I mean, everyone, the sort of like suspension of disbelief is like somehow, after being on the wrong end of everything for the entire MCU, Thunderbolt Ross gets elected president. Okay, so that's the first part that we're like, all right.
Well, and we also find out that the man who killed Tony Stark's parents is now running for office, and everybody's excited about it.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Okay.
That is comic book world, though. I mean,
well, that's what I figured. I figured it had to be a comic book. Callback.
It's interesting. They might be trying to normalize what's about to happen with Wilson Fisk in Daredevil Born Again.
Ooh, I don't know anything about what you just said.
He becomes the mayor of New York.
Okay.
This is Kingpin.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
This is the main bad guy. He becomes the mayor of New York. And so that's a big twist in the Spider-Mans and the Daredevils.
Okay.
Wilson Fisk, who's this mob killer,
right?
Essentially becomes the mayor of New York. And I don't even know. He may run for president at one point in these stories. I don't remember.
Well, I thought he was dead. I thought last time we saw him was in the Deaf Woman.
Echo?
Yeah, I know that show hasn't come out, but what was that? That was Hawkeye. That was the Hawkeye show, wasn't it?
No, it was Echo. He was in Echo and Hawkeye.
Did Echo happen?
Yeah.
I never saw it. I never watched it.
If this is any indication, I made it about 3 episodes.
Okay. Before it was canceled?
No, before I just stopped watching.
Oh, okay. Well, what I was referring to is the Hawkeye show with Haley Steinfeld, and
Mrs. Josh Allen. Yes.
Yeah. Mrs. Josh Allen, the inspiration of the MVP of the NFL. But I remember he was in that, and they, had some callbacks to some of that former Marvel Cinematic Television series universe, whatever. I thought he died. I thought she killed him at the end of that.
I don't think he can be killed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he manages to. He's got some kind of a superpower of some sort.
Okay, well,
I don't think they really spell it out very well, but he's just kind of got that ability to. He's hard to kill.
Just keeps on living. Livin. He just keeps on living.
I think that it was really stupid to watch a fist fight with Sidewinder and Captain America, and for it to last as long as it did. We watched Captain America just dispatch all these special forces guy.
Right.
And this man with this beautiful man who's got beautiful gray hair. We love the gray hair.
Yeah.
Gray hair is wonderful.
Yeah.
But he's holding his own with Captain America.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like,
and later on, Captain America goes toe to toe with the Red Hulk. and yet it takes him 10 minutes to take down an old dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
You're like, okay. I think some of it had to do what they were trying to say is he didn't have his armor, but still. Did you catch the fact that apparently Anthony Mackie has like some kind of elven garment that protects him from like stabs?
Yeah, he says some kind of Kevlar. Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, Frodo?
Taking a page out of the Dead Rock Stars. Elvis's magic pajamas. Read the book, you'll find it.
Yeah, that's good.
It's in there. Yeah,
that's good. Well, I am not disappointed. I saw it. I agree with you. I'm at that 2.5, 3. Where'd you put it? Did you give it 3?
What did I say? Did I say
3.25?
3.25? I think I said 3.25. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say 2.75.
That's probably generous. Now that I think about it, I think it's a 6 out of 10. So a 3. Let's go 3 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah. It's remarkable to me how often when I look at IMDb and they show like the score there, how accurate that is to where my feelings toward a film, you know? And when I looked at it, it was like 6. I was like, oh shoot. Oh no.
Well, I've got my lights on red and blue for Cap and for Hulk back there. So
yeah.
Just
love them both. Love them both.
I thought that, I don't know, I guess we're going to see more Red Hulk if Harrison Ford lives, or, I mean, I guess they've proven that they don't really need Thunderbolt Ross to be the same actor.
Anyone could pick up the mantle. Yeah. I did think it was kind of funny. They did that one scene where he had the mustache and he was losing it, and the next scene they show him without the stash or whatever. But, so do you think, okay, let's look into the future. The next Marvel film that's coming out is the Thunderbolts with an asterisk. All right. So do you think that asterisk is in reference to Thunderbolt has been, Thaddeus Ross has been, defamed or whatever. And so we can't call them the Thunderbolts because you don't want to be associated with this, this ex-president or whatever, who's the Red Hulk also.
No, there's been some sleuthing, and online they have determined that through either Japan or one of the other countries where they have subtitles where they're kind of explaining things, they have Thunderbolts, they have the asterisk, and then they have an asterisk, and they have this Japanese or whatever. And what it says is asterisk, not the Avengers. So they're the Thunderbolts, asterisk, not the Avengers.
Okay. Interesting.
That's an internet educated guess.
Rumor. Yeah. Okay. That movie looks like a lot of fun. I'm really excited for that one. It
looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Sentry and Void are some bad dudes, and I think they're going to do that really well. I don't know how they're going to fight them. I think this might be taking a page out of Suicide Squad or something like that, where it's like people that have abilities, but they're nothing like what they're fighting. It'll be really interesting to see kind of how it comes down. But I think David Harbour is going to crush. I mean, I think
every time he's on screen, I was cackling.
I think Wyatt Russell's, we're going to get some good Wyatt Russell too. Like he's going to become a little bit more comedic.
Yeah.
I think Yelena is going to have a star turn.
Okay.
And I think Bucky is going to get to be the leader of the crew. And I think it's going to be great. So I'm calling it now. It's going to be great.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe season 2 will roll around and we can review this in season 2.
Yeah.
Have you seen any clips of Sebastian Stan as Donald Trump in The Apprentice, his Academy Award nominated performance?
I haven't, but I heard he's great.
I went on a last week when I was sick and I couldn't sleep. I have what we know as the shingles, and it makes it very hard to sleep. It's so painful. So I was sitting in my room and I got on a just rabbit trail, just down the rabbit hole of any YouTube clip I could find of Sebastian Stan as Donald Trump. And it was remarkable. I mean,
young Trump,
like 70s, 80s Trump.
Yeah. And so a little bit more wild and crazy.
Yeah. Really, really fascinating. Really interesting. And the dude from Severance, not Severance. What's the gosh, we talked about it a couple episodes ago, the show, not Billions, but the HBO version of the exact same show. What's that show called? Jeremy Strong is the actor. Oh my goodness. It's like this
Succession.
Succession. That one, yeah. The dude from that show plays like the guy that taught him everything that he knows. He's like a Roy Cohn, I think is the man's name. Was the real guy that he played, but just really fascinating. But he's orange. You know, he looks just like modern day Trump, except for he's, you know, skinny and kind of balding. It looked really like, wow.
Have you ever watched any old clips of Trump on Letterman?
No, I've never seen that.
If you want to go down a YouTube clip, pull up Trump on Letterman, 1980s or whatever.
Interesting.
You'll like it.
Yeah.
You won't be disappointed. In fact, I would bet that Sebastian Stan's character is based off of that person.
Based on some of that. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I didn't mean to take us down that rabbit hole.
No, it's okay.
Just
you know, we talked a little bit about this as we're kind of rounding the corner, wrapping things up. You know, the goal for this little off season is to kind of get things in gear for finishing up book 2, or, you know, starting our plan to work on that. And so we're going to have a much better fleshed out book 2 by the time we start season 2. We'll be able to talk about that.
Yeah. Hopefully have some more chapters written.
Yeah. We'll have some more chapters written. We'll be ready to kind of talk about that. But you know, Kyle, I've really enjoyed season 1, and I want to do it again.
Absolutely. Me too. I typically I work from home, so I don't say a lot throughout the day. And so when you and I get behind a microphone, I actually get to talk, you know, oh man, it feels incredible. So I'm always energized when we come to the end of an episode. I'm like, we could have done more, man. I could have had more words to say. So yeah, I love it. It's fantastic.
We're both also great listeners.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, man, I'm trying to think about stuff I've learned today, what I learned. I think what I learned. Oh,
well, I wanted to throw this at you. Okay.
Okay. I'm ready.
You can talk about what you what you learned today, but what if, is there anything we can go back and forth? Is there anything you learned this season? Like whole season, going back to as far back as you can remember, whenever we started, October, whenever it was. Is there anything you learned this season that you would like to you can talk about what you learned today if you want, and give some thought toward this season.
Yeah. I'll start with what I learned tonight, and then it'll give me a little second or two to kind of come up with maybe thinking seasonally about what I've learned, because you know, we've come a long way. We've done a lot of stuff, and so it's interesting to think about what we've talked about. I would say that tonight I learned that you think that nobody in the South wrestles alligators, that's impossible.
At least a man in his late 50s who is very soft. I doubt that.
We didn't even talk tonight about the 50th anniversary of SNL. We didn't even talk about that at all.
No, we didn't. We didn't go there. We could have, but
and speaking of soft, you know, seeing Will Ferrell in that Scared Straight skit where he's got the really, 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 really short shorts.
Yes.
Yeah. Soft.
A callback to one of his legendary post 9/11 sketches where he came out on Casual Friday in like nothing but a United States flag underwear.
Speedo.
You know? Yes.
Speedo.
That was just amazing. So
how great was it that he got Eddie Murphy to break?
Oh, that was fantastic.
Yeah, it was really, really good. Eddie Murphy was the king of the show.
Hey,
I would say for the 50th.
When he said, "I don't do anything halfway," and half of his hair was braided and the other half was just all blown out. I lost it. That would have been it for me. I don't think I would have ever been able to recover from that sketch. So watch that one if you haven't. The Scared Straight.
Watching Kenan Thompson look at his hair and give the side eye through all that was just fantastic.
And just fight through it. Yeah.
And Sudeikis was gold over there.
Oh,
what Sudeikis was saying in between, gold.
He was great. That was a good one.
Black Jeopardy with him mimicking Tracy Morgan.
As Tracy Morgan, next to Tracy Morgan.
Could not have been any better.
Oh, that was great. Yeah.
Could not have been any better.
That was great.
And Tracy Morgan's like, I don't see the resemblance.
Yeah. That's good.
All right, Kyle, what did you learn from tonight?
Well, I would say that I learned, and you know, I say this every time, but I probably knew this, that it is possible for someone to put out a sci-fi zombie movie that Jay Watson doesn't like.
Yeah.
It's
rare.
It's rare. It's rare.
It's rare.
But it's possible.
It's possible. Yeah.
It happens. It happens.
Yeah.
Have you had a moment to reflect on anything that you learned this season? Because I got something in the chamber ready to go if you need me to go ahead.
I think it's a lot of fun to be as close as we are friendship wise and enjoy the same kind of things that we do, we often rarely show up with the same hot takes.
That's true.
And I appreciate that. I always appreciate where you're coming from. Causes me to think a little bit about where I'm at. I think that, at times you say that I think a little more philosophical than you do on a few more levels when it comes to a story. Sometimes. I don't believe that. I don't think that's true. I think that you definitely think about those things, but when it suits you and you want the story to be just on a story level, that's when you think about it that way.
That's typical. Yeah, that's accurate. I would agree with that. Yeah. I would say this season that I learned that you love more than anyone I know Apple TV Plus.
I don't think that's. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know that it's hilarious because I don't have an iPhone. I don't have an iPad. I don't have a MacBook. I reject them. I'm fully Android.
Right.
But
you love the streamer.
The way they are spending money on art, I'm here for.
I love it, man. That is great.
Funny enough, I haven't watched Severance at all.
Yeah, it's like that's their big show other than Lasso.
It's their big show right now,
right?
And I just don't care about it.
Yeah, I'm there with you too.
It looks boring.
Well, I don't know what it is. I feel like I want to know before I watch something. I want a somewhat basic idea of what it is that I'm getting myself into. I don't want to be too much thrown for a loop.
You highlighted that in your perspective of the preview for the film Nope.
That's right. Season. That's right. Exactly. I was like, I don't want to see that because I don't know what it is. I don't know what I'm about to watch. I don't know anything about it. What is this movie about? And so it did not draw me in the trailer, I should say.
I would hope that you viewer have a really good idea of what you're going to get when you come to see us. And hopefully next season, we're going to bring more of that and make it even more fun. This was a really cool experience, and season 1 is in the books. And for me, I'm good. Kyle, you good, buddy? Anything you need to say?
I'm good, brother. I love doing this. It's a lot of fun. I did learn that, how much I loved hosting our own podcast. Yeah. What a blast.
Way better than being a guest.
It is better than being a guest. But that wasn't bad, too. I enjoyed that also.
Yeah.
But I like this more.
And with that, some music from Hope Watson. Kyle, have a great evening.
You too, buddy.